I remember when I had a very long hallway of posters. I really, truly appreciated it. I don't have that luxury anymore. It's okay. We still get to look at them and some G.I. Joes and some other stuff. And why are we here? Who am I? What are we doing? What's going on? What the hell happened to all that? Well, good that you asked, because I've got an answer. But first, there's Jason from Jason's House of Fun and Video Games bringing you today an update on my Neca collection. Why is that? I like to keep track of things that I have. I haven't done one in a while, so this isn't a down the rabbit hole we go. It's just a simple update. And I found a much easier, more strategic way of doing this because it seems like these take an awful lot of time. Not that that's a huge deal. That poster needs to be pushed back. Shame. That's okay. We'll get it. I'm probably going to get it when I'm doing this, but it's kind of bothering me, but it's okay. Let it be. I wanted to take a look at my Neca collection because I've got an awful lot to say about Neca. And I want to give you an update. I probably want to clean some because what I have done... Hold on. By the way, when's the last time you've seen that? I mean, I know I just did an update, a few updates here and there, and some other stuff I got going on here, but it's been a hot minute since you've seen these bare shells, except for the, Power Ranger shit, because no reason for it. To be in this video, it is awesome. But we've already done that, and I don't have anything really to update on that, but nevertheless, it's pretty cool to get to see what's actually behind this. It's interesting to see how much stuff I can actually physically put into one place, but nevertheless, that's not why we're here. Still pretty cool. How many of you have a cassette boy? Does it work? Nah, I don't think it does. I think I tried an ADA tape, but it's still cool. Officially licensed Nintendo thing, too. Should look that up. Why am I doing an update on the Neca collection? Well, because I like to see what I have, and I got to do a better job at dusting, cleaning, and wiping things off. Not that I don't, but I just don't do it as frequently as I'd like to. So all those shelves, meaning two, it's a whole big bunch, took everything off, wiped down those shelves. It wasn't actually a lot of dust, surprisingly. At the other place that I had in Florida, there was a ton of dust, usually all the time. So maybe it's because less bigger room. It's a smaller room, I guess would be the proper way to say it, but who knows. Got some good things in here, got some great things, and I'm also going to do it a different way, more strategic, how I said. Before I show you that, let's take a look over here real quick. Thank you very much, Cynthia, who went on a trip to Orlando with her sisters and was kind enough to think of her husband. That would be me. And got me that from the Super Nintendo world. And she also got me that pretty cool sign as well. I don't know if it was in the same place. I don't remember. I don't believe so. I think she just got me the Super Nintendo world sign. I think that's awesome. I had nothing but white space there. You know how I am. If it wasn't posted, it was going to be something else. I don't have any more posters I can really move around. Other than those two, because wow, you never get to see these. How long has it been till we've seen these? Mars Attacks and some good old Walking Dead. All Out War. Great story. Great show. Just like it. But, either way, another thing, before we get to it, right there. What's that? If you remember, if you've been here long enough, in 2021, I uploaded a video that's super important to me. It's one of my favorite videos. It's one of my, from my friends and family, it's a video that really touched them. Meaning that they were just blown away by the amount of emotion that was in the video. And, seeing me in between when I did that video was super important to really understand the gravity of the decision I made to leave Massachusetts to come to Florida. The reasons why, most of them. Can't always say everything. Gotta keep some stuff in, man. But nevertheless, in that video, we discovered my Goosebumps collection. I want to look at it at some point. Down the rabbit hole we will go. That will be the video, and we're going to see if we have every single copy of Goosebumps. We don't want the wall. We want to know what you want to look at. What do you want to look at? We unburied some buried treasure. That right there would be 2 compilations of stories as well. I mean, this is wild. I can't wait to do a really good in-depth video on these, because this would be awesome too. So I'm just giving you little short clips right here. I should read a book more often. I like the Walking Dead books. They're really cool. I like the books about movies and games. They're cool. I like Goosebumps. Some other books, it's kind of hit or miss. Probably should. It's good to get the wheels turning, as the kids say. But nevertheless, it's something while you're here. That's for the future, and can't wait to get to it. That's why I put it there. Because I went to go clean out the garage for the second time since I've been here. You know, try to downsize. Get some more stuff that we don't need. Start throwing things out. Maybe figure out something else to do with it. But that's what I found, and I was like, oh, I know I packed them. So that will be a video when it comes out, if it does this year, which hopefully it will very, very soon. So I'm really interested. As I keep looking at it, I want to stop what I'm doing right now just to go to it. But then this video wouldn't make any sense, neither with the title or anything else. So we're not going to do that. And I'm going to kind of get on track. 2021 is when I shot that video. It's now 2025. It only took me 4 years to get to it. But remember, big move. Giant, historic hurricane. My first. Out of the house for 6 months. Everything put into a couple of pods. Stuff everywhere. Chaos. Mayhem. It's been 2 years since I've been here. 2.5 now. But still, there's still stuff to go through. Like, just the way it is. Very chaotic timing. Again, not a huge deal. It's the past, and we got through it. We learned from it, but I was happy I found out that those things actually lived. So that's good. Because, you know, once a book gets wet, typically that's the end. That's the goose is cooked, my friends, ladies and gentlemen. There's no more. Sometimes you can, but book won't be the same. But nevertheless, doesn't matter. So how am I going to do this more strategic now that we've spent enough time on yentering it up about bullshit that isn't involved in this video? Because that's who I am, and that's how I have fun. By the way, because I'm going to do it one more time, you want $1 million? You can't have it, because I got it. $1 million bill. I found it on the ground. No joke, no shit. 100% factual comment I just made there. $1 million I found on the ground. How many of you can say you found $1 million on the ground? Is it real? No. It just kind of looks like a good enough tender though, right? Like it's got all the things that you may have if you found $1 million. Nevertheless, it doesn't matter. That's so cool. I got $1 million and I got another buck behind it, which is pretty cool. But moving on, how am I going to do this more strategic? These are everything that I have as far as action figures that I want to go over today, which is an awful lot. Instead of doing it one by one, doing the twists and turns. Although I like that, I'd like to do this more strategic and not make this video 9,000 hours long. Just enough to give you an idea of what an update is and maybe clean some stuff. Maybe I'll do it off camera. Maybe I'll do it on camera. Maybe I'll put some more things in here like, I don't know. Maybe I'll put in the TikTok. A couple of things on the TikTok that I have in there that maybe I can figure out a way to filter into the videos. Love it. 15 seconds. And at one point, 15 minutes was a huge deal for me. Many, many, many years ago. 5 years ago to be exact. Just about. But I appreciate the 15 seconds I have with that app. You could do more, but that's what I limited myself to to get that creativeness out that I can't do here all the time because it's very time consuming and time is never on my side. Poor me, blah, 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 blah. It doesn't matter. Let's get to it. How am I going to do this strategically? Well, we broke up the old table. You probably haven't seen this since. I don't think I had it in the old room. I don't believe I did. In Florida. In Massachusetts, I had this. It used to be where all the consoles sat on. The computer. All that stuff. Haven't used it since. Had it outside. Used it for storage or putting things on. Or like actual uses for a table. Now it's time to use it here. And I'm going to have very little spots to move in. I think that I just about cut it, right? Like that's as close as we can get. And that big comfy chair is the main reason why I can't fit anything in here. But it's okay. We're going to figure it out. I was thinking maybe I could do it out in the living room. That's not a good idea because I got 5 dogs and they want to know what the hell I'm doing. And that would be an interesting video to see puppies. But The puppies will want to eat the toys, or eat the action figures, or whatever you want to call them. Eat the boxes, the packages. And if you know anything about me, I'm a complete inbox sealed collector when it comes to action figures. I do every once in a while delve into not practicing what I preach. That's okay, because that's cool too, but for the majority of my collection, it is complete inbox sealed, mint on card, whatever you want to call it. Just the way it is. Could I open them up? I could. I'm not going to. Just the way I like it. I like to display them, look at them, and sit there in the gaze. And when I sit there in the gaze right now, I see a whole lot of emptiness, which means we got to get this video done, because that took me, I don't know, 15, 20 minutes. That's a long time. And then I got to remember exactly how I did it. I think I took a picture so I could put for the thumbnail on this video. Selfishly, other than to say, wow, it's pretty cool. Look at all my crap. It's great. But to remember where I put everything, because I'm not going to really remember, because it's whatever. Maybe that's the fun. Maybe I shouldn't remember. Maybe I should just redesign, except for where the screws are, because that'd be kind of a giant pain in the ass to unscrew everything, screw everything back in. But maybe it's necessary. Maybe it's something I need. Maybe I need a challenge. Maybe I'm a spaz. Maybe I haven't had enough coffee or caffeine today. Maybe I'm going to have some more. Maybe I don't care. Maybe you don't care. Maybe you're having a good day. Maybe I'm crazy. Maybe. No, I'm not. Just having fun, folks. No worries. But let me try to set up this beast, and if it doesn't work, then I guess we'll maybe take our chances in the living room, or maybe we'll go outside. Not in the sun, though, because as you know, my mating cow, if you've been around long enough, the mating cow got bit by the old sun bug. Among other bugs, of course, but doesn't matter. We'll figure it out. Hope you been having a good time, being cool and enjoying life and working and all that other happy horse shit. It's been a hot minute since I've been here, about 30 days. Posted some Call of Duty content. Didn't do so hot. Not really looking for anything to do hot or great or blow up or anything like that. That's not really what I'm doing here, but it's good to see. A couple of comments, people having some fun and saying they liked it, or you're off la cod, whatever you want to call it. But what are you gonna do? But let's try to figure out how they're gonna make this work. Get started. Get a bunch of figures on there at once. Maybe one or two that I kind of want to look in depth on, and then that's it. And then I can let you go after the outro and figure out what other nonsense I can get into today. It's the day off and I'm not at work. Fantastic. Let's go. And just like that, we are back. Table is full. Let's get ready to rock and roll. Like I said, I'm going to try to do most of these like this, make it a little bit faster. But I will be spending a little more time on some of them. Not all of them. Got a pretty good selection, though. This is most of the horror ones that I have, other than the ones that are not in the boxes. These are the more newer Neca ones. So let's take a look. Got the original horror show, Frankenstein. Awesome. Got some thing going on there. RoboCop. There's one that I can't bring out because it's buried in the Closet of Doom. It's one that I couldn't fit on the shelf, where it has RoboCop in the chair and everything. Really cool. I think I showed it off in a couple videos before that the kids got me for Father's Day, I believe it was. Of course, you got the Terminator. Can't go wrong with the Terminator. T2. Got that. I wonder if they're ever going to come out with a John Connor, or maybe with RoboCop. Will they come out with RoboCop 2 or 3? Sure, it might be a licensing issue, as other things that we may explore, maybe the reasons why certain things aren't the way they are. The only Hellraiser one that I know of, there is a 4-pack, and I usually have them up there. Old school NECA figures back in the early 2000s or late 90s that has all the Cenobites. I've seen it countless times in that time period, not recently. It's really expensive now. I definitely want to get it at some point. I also have an Alien versus Predator one. It's actually in the garage that I found, but again, it's really just a space issue, and you kind of have to make your decisions on, what you want up displayed all the time. So, good thing about these is we could change that and do whatever the hell we want. But for now, that's how I'm having it. But I wonder if they'll ever do an individual Cenobite line as well, other than, you know, just Pinhead. I think that'd be pretty cool. Don't see a lot of figures out there with Pinhead, not Noma. I think that's the only one I have ever had. Texas Chainsaw Massacre, there's two versions of the 50th anniversary edition. I don't think I'm going to be getting those, but really cool, and I'm glad that you know, people have the opportunity to get this figure if they hadn't, because this isn't very common one to find in the wild anymore. They go pretty quick. This one has a pretty interesting story I think I've shared before, but we'll definitely share it again. I wanted to find the Tiffany. I could only find the Chucky. But we found a Chucky nevertheless. I think I have a few more sitting around actually, I think, here, because there's got to be a Chucky around or something. I forget. But either way, it doesn't matter. The elusive Ultimate Pamela Voorhees. Notice anything different here? Nobody's really pointing this out, and I think it's probably pretty obvious on why it's not there. But we'll definitely look at that. And then, of course, part 2. I really appreciate these two, although very similar, these two cover arts. They're obviously from the movies. Some of these are. Some of them are altered, a little bit different. But still, really cool. And I think that was the European version that we saw. This kind of looks like the monster from the Black Lagoon kind of vibe going on there, but it's pretty cool. I like it. And you got one of the only lenticular figures in the line that I know of. If there's another one, let me know. A New Dimension in Terror. Friday the 13th. Part 3. As in 3D. Really cool. I don't think I can get the silhouette to go the way I want it to, or the lenticularness, even though it's not a word, but it's the house from the video games. We do what we want. And we got Friday the 13th, the final chapter. Friday the 13th, A New Beginning. That would be the dream sequence version. This would be the, I want to call it the regular version. Kind of a spoiler here, or maybe the imposter version. I don't know. I love that cover art. I do appreciate this. I do. I think it's very misleading for the film. To me, and I could be wrong, that looks too similar to Corey Feldman. I don't think that's who that is. I think that's... I want to say it was John Shepard who played Tommy Jarvis in the 5th one. But I'm not sure. That might actually be him. I don't know. I liked it. I thought it was cool, but I dig this one for some reason because it's such a interesting looking hockey mask, and actually looks like a legitimate hockey mask that, you know, hockey players actually wear, the goalie wears. And moving on. Friday the 13th, part 6, Jason Lives. Look at these covers. You just don't get this anymore. I mean, there's some pretty cool covers out there, but man, amazing. New Blood, and of course we got Friday the 13th, the remake. Very hesitant to get that. I have a Jason versus Freddy one somewhere. I think it's in the Closet of Doom. And then, of course, you've got the only at GameStop, and there was a Comic-Con or Con version of this, but I don't think it works anymore, which is fine. It's okay. Look at that. You and your friends are dead. Game over. It's awesome. Not canon with anything, but definitely was a difficult piece to find. You know me, if you've been here long enough, I love the hunt, but that was a little difficult. And we got some A Nightmare on Elm Street, of course. How could we pass up? Oh, well, there I go with another mistake. We've had to do this twice for a number of reasons, so. But it's all good. And I left that at the end because it's not the actual film, so. Look at that cover art. Now, that's an awesome cover art. We have different cover art, of course. This is an alternate cover art. I believe it's another one from overseas. One of the greatest horror movies of all time. Nightmare on Elm Street 3. The Dream Warriors. Or should I just say Dream Warriors? Amazing. Look at that cover art. I would 100% get that tattooed on me. I'd probably get this almost all these on me at some point. Because I like tattoos, but got to get back on that. But anyway, this is the NES version of Freddy. This is the only one I've ever seen that's sealed. And you can't see anything. Well, you can kind of see what he looks like. It's, you know, looks like the NES. I bought it somewhere at some point for $27.99, but it's a sealed one. Never seen that before on any of the NECA figures. I don't know if you folks have. Let me know if you have. Sorry about the glare again. Halloween 2. Love that picture. I have the pumpkin over there. And not so elusive anymore, but was pretty elusive. The Halloween 6. Curse of Michael Myers, or Halloween, The Curse of Michael Myers, depending on how you read that. It's the 6th installment. Pretty cool stuff. A little difficult to find, but we ended up finding it in the wild. My favorite part about doing this is the hunt. This right here is the Halloween 2018 remake, along with another figure from that movie, which would be Jamie Lee Curtis, which is awesome. Miss Laurie Strode herself. And then, of course, we get into the more interesting incarnations. Halloween Kills, and, of course, a lot of people's favorites. Yeah, it's definitely debatable. Halloween Ends. So we got a lot to unpack here. Now that we've seen a lot so far, I mean, we've got a long way to go. Got some ones I really want to focus on, but let's pick up one, for example. We're going to go with the Scream, because I had a story with that, right? So Scream, why is this figure so important? One, it brought the horror franchise back in the public eye. It's always been there, but it brought it to a much larger mainstream viewing for folks than ever seen before. It was a resurgence back in 1996. Ghostface finally, for the first time, came to the big screen. And he's still kicking to today. Waiting for that Scream 7 to come out. Should be pretty good. You got the different Ghostface faces, masks, whatever you want to call them. You got the one that's aged. You got the original, of course. You got a bloody one. You got the green one. I love the green one. I think that's a stab one. Or at least the poster stab. There's a different version of this as well, where I believe it's the one from the teaser trailer or production stills where Ghostface had the flamethrower. I don't know if that was in the movie. It's been so long since I've seen Scream 6. But I think, if I recall, it was like part of another movie that they were doing, like the movie inside the movie. You know, all this meta business. But nevertheless, pretty cool figure. And why is this really important to me? Well, this right here is a piece of history, at least for me. Look at that. That's so cool. Glows in the dark, too. That is awesome. What a awesome, cool looking action figure. I wonder why they didn't get the other ones in there. Again, a lot of this will probably be chalked up to licensing fees. The reason why that one's really important, that is the last thing I took out of my house in Massachusetts. I left, and on the day that I was leaving, before I left, I was fortunate enough to get a call from the new owners who purchased my house. They stated that a package arrived for me. So that's interesting. I gave a different address. And I was chasing something around. This was a very chaotic day. I had to get down here at a certain time to sign some very important documents to make all this work that we see here today. And for me to actually be here and not come here and go, well, I guess I don't have a place to stay. It's great. Although that would happen for 6 months, a year and a half later, but that's because of a storm nevertheless. That figure, along with that package, was there. So when I went to grab the package, I talked to them. They were very kind to let me in the house. It was surreal to see somebody else in my house. And, you know, they didn't do any changes. And I left, actually, the shelves. They really appreciated me leaving those shelves up for them. You know, he kind of was like, hey, what did you have on those shelves before? And, you know, I kind of showed him some pictures, and he was just, like, blown away that all that was in there at one point, and then it's now with me. They said, oh, we found something else in the cabinet. I go, oh my God, what did I forget? And sure enough, I picked that up probably a few days before all this happened. And I left it in a shelf. I don't know why I did, but I left it in a cabinet or something. I don't remember how it got there. There was so much craziness going on. So that was very kind of them to do. And obviously that package, although that's very important, was more important to making sure I actually had a place that I was going to and not have any complications or any more holdbacks or anything like that. Because buying and selling houses can be a little tricky, even if you have a realtor. Weird things happen. So something to think about. Not a professional, just my opinion and my experience. And another one I definitely wanted to look at, of course, is a very new edition. I've been on the hunt for this since around Mother's Day, and I got it out of some real good luck. Now, I want to focus in on this because I've seen a lot of reviews on this, and nobody's saying anything about it. Interesting, right? Okay. So let's look up here. I know it is very difficult to see, and I can't get close enough to it, but there's a huge difference, because if I get close enough, everything around is gonna fall. There's a big difference, and it's the same thing right here, even though you can't see because there's a figure in front of it. There are pictures of the actors in front of the house. Here, it's not the case. And up there, it's a little bit different because it has... it just has them. Yeah, it has all a couple of them there. I think it's Alice, and I think it's Kevin Bacon, and the other few actors, Bill, and I think one of the girls, or not both of the girls, they were right there, and you don't see that. So I think that's because of copyright and because of likeness things, but not really something that people are bringing up. But let me tell you, I've got 4 incarnations of Pamela Voorhees, and I didn't realize that until I just pulled down one of my sets. I have a 25th anniversary box set that includes Pamela Voorhees, which goes for a pretty penny. It needs to be very, very much dusted. We'll get to it. This is it right here. A lot of people have already kind of done their reviews on it. I am super duper excited to have this. It was in really good condition. And, this is a limited release, I guess, from what they said. I think it's available on the website. So if you do want it, definitely check it out. You got Pamela there. Yeah, that's the last scene in the movie, or one of the last scenes with her in the movie. She wasn't holding the axe at the time, but nevertheless, it's okay. Got a couple different heads, which is awesome. I think some of the sculpts are, pretty good. I've seen people open this up, and again, sorry for the glare. Well, this is so awesome. I was hoping that we would get this because it would complete, well, not complete, but it would add to this. So another thing to kind of get a hold of here, right? So let's take a gander at this for a sec. All these figures have been available in some way, shape, or form, whether it was the old school style of Neca figures, even though they still release them in the hard plastic, or should I say just the plastic, big, giant, bulky boxes that are a serious pain to get back up and forth through that. They've gone all the way up, and I've not seen any other figures, and it ends here. Like, this is obviously part of the remake. This is the game from the Nintendo, the NES, whatever you want to call it. No 8 and no 9. There was a Jason Goes to Hell released. I have it. And I love it. It's great. No 8. Why is that? Again, is it a copyright thing? Is it a rights thing? I don't know. I know there's been a lot of things going on with the franchise over the years, lawsuits and all kinds of other stuff going on that, that has to do with the creators, not me. And I'm glad that, it seems like that has gone in the right direction. We're going to be getting a Crystal Lake series on Peacock at some point. There's thoughts of a movie. There's a YouTube channel and a website called Jason's Universe, where they're putting some stuff up there that's I don't know. I'd like to keep my faith there, but just remember what happens. I mean, we had a Friday the 13th game like that, and then we had a Friday the 13th game that came out that was mainly multiplayer. Love the single player matches. I'm glad I downloaded it when I did. I don't have all the skins and everything saved, but Those servers are now shut down. You can kind of just go at it with bots and have some fun and do things like that, or do the single player missions. But apparently that's going to be coming back, or some form of it, from whether it's Gun Media or whoever does it. But listen, it was a great game. A little buggy, I mean, listen, when you're making something, especially these days, these games, these movies are extremely expensive. And yes, there's a lot of power and money behind these companies and these folks that do this. But everything has to have a budget. And at the end of the day, shareholders, stockholders, people who run the show, they need to make a profit. And whether that's right or wrong, I'm not here to decide or really defend or object to. I get it. I understand business. I understand numbers. I have for a long time. It's part of what I do in my professional career. Numbers and understanding how to make things work. But why don't we have a Jason Takes Manhattan? Why don't we have a Jason Goes to Hell? Where are they? We got one a long time ago. We can get 8. We've never gotten an 8. And we did get a Pamela Voorhees. We got a young Jason, which is in a set we'll look at later. But where is that? I'm just curious if anybody knows. I've kind of scoured the internet on my question with this, what the picture difference. And again, sorry I couldn't really show it to you, but look up the theatrical poster if you have your VHS. Just take a look at it, and you will 100% see a difference. I explained what this is, which I think is pretty cool. It's not the original artwork, but I really like that. It's awesome. And you can't go wrong with any of these. But nevertheless, just let me know what you think on that if you have done some research on your own. And, it really interests me. And then, of course, we get to Nightmare on Elm Street. Nightmare on Elm Street has had, I think every Freddy has had some sort of action figure, except for Freddy's Dead. I think there was even one for The Dream Child, Part 5. But with these current types of figures in this format, in this box, it only goes up to 3, if I'm not mistaken. I think maybe there might have been a new Nightmare. I don't think so, though. And obviously that's the video game Freddy. That's the NES one. So, what's going on here? Is it rights? I know that sometimes, like, for example, like releasing a Halloween box set, which I think I just so happen to have right over there. Oh, I have both of them right next to each other. So the Halloween and the Friday the 13th. There's another one over there as well, as you can see. Those were due to licensing and rights, copyright and all that. And there's multiple different movie developers, movie studios rather, that had those. So I understand that. So maybe it's very simple like that. But again, with something so small as that, I guess I'm just curious on why. And those other things are just great talking points. Halloween's the same thing with this. So we've got Halloween 2. We do have another Halloween, and I will show it to you at some point. It's the third one, but it's not Michael because Michael wasn't in it. And we have some Curse of Michael Myers. Finally, after all these years, we've got a great rendition of this. This wasn't too difficult to find. It didn't take me as long to find as Pamela Voorhees from Friday the 13th. And this is great. I mean, some folks didn't really like the mask. I think the mask grew on me and how it looked. But this is just great. It's amazing. Like, you really can't go wrong with this. This figure came out really good in my opinion. If we were getting into technical stuff and the specs and the exact molding and stuff, I'm not really into that, but I can appreciate it, having a deeper understanding. But that's just awesome. I really appreciate and love this film. I prefer the producer's cut, although I find it to be very strange. There's the green goose, or ooze, or whatever you want to call it. Yep, that's ooze. That's the other head where I think you can stick the needle in his neck, so it shows the end of the theatrical version of it. Really good looking knife, by the way. Yeah, you got to pay attention to little things like that. Awesome looking knife. Got a bunch of different hands. I think they did really good with this. And I like that they had that in the back, which you can't see because it's covered. And that's okay because that means it's in there good. But It has the sold sign with He's Coming. I absolutely love the atmosphere of Halloween 6. I think the story is chaotic between the two different versions. Again, we're going way off topic here. We're talking about figures, but the movies, I mean, we're talking horror, so the hell with it, right? The movie is very convoluted. It has a really interesting story, and it's just what happens when people don't agree and money. That's just kind of what happens, right? And in those days, very interesting. We would not see the producer's cut officially released until that box set. But for some of you who are around my age, which happen to be 41, in the late 90s or early, what was it, mid 90s, I think, or somewhere around there, like 95 to 98 or something like that, eBay became a thing. And what was huge on, I wouldn't call it the black market, what's huge on the second and third hand markets, one of them being eBay, would be bootleg stuff. But I don't really think it's bootleg, but I guess technically you would say it is. That right there we've gone over before. You could barely see it. I'll try to point to it. That is the Halloween 6 producer's cut. It's awful. It's shaky. It looks like I was doing my first video when I was a young person. I used to run around with a video camera and try to record everything that I did and just to look at the good old days of blah, blah, blah. Lots of people do it, some people don't, but it's really cool. But somebody just went into... It wasn't the movie theater, because I don't think that that's how that would have come. I don't know how that would have been, but they had it recorded somewhere, and then they re-recorded it on like a camcorder, is what it looked like. So, really interesting. Some of the sound is not there. It's just a piece of my history, because that is the second thing I ever bought off eBay, and I didn't. I asked my mom. I was very, not very young at the time, but I was a young teenager. 13, maybe 14 years old when I got that. Hard to remember now. It must have been maybe 15. I don't know. I think it was more along the lines of 14 or 13. And I begged my mom to buy this. It was like, oh, this eBay thing looks so cool, and there's all kinds of stuff on there. My first purchase was unreleased music from Tupac, because I'm a huge Tupac fan. I wanted everything Tupac. You would think that I had a Declaration of Independence, a Bible's worth of information on Tupac. Because back then, when we got printers and we can just access everything on our phones, like, just wanted to print it out and learn more about it and be able to speak to it. Not that I was there, he's any relation to me or anything, but it's just one of those things that really interested me. And then as I got into his poetry, and again, we're going way off topic, but it's what we do here. His poetry was very touching and it was articulated very well, and he was very complicated. I can relate to being complicated. I can't relate to him per se. Completely different lives, of course. And he would end up being a great music star and an awesome movie actor. And unfortunately, would lose his life very young at the age of 25. And, the other person on the other side of that, of course, was the Notorious B.I.G., who would also die, but at 24 instead of 25. One was born in 71, Tupac. One was born in 72, which would be Notorious B.I.G., Mr. Christopher Wallace. That was such an interesting time, and I know that there's been a lot of speculation over the years, and I don't know where a lot of those papers went. They might have gotten lost through moves, but man, did I run out of some ink. And that's when ink wasn't super expensive before, it became such a hot commodity among the not paying for stuff market. That made it very expensive. At one point you could get ink for, I don't know, maybe $15-20, maybe less. Might be off on that, might have been 30. And now it's still sitting at, anywhere between, I don't know, $40, $60, $80 at some points. It's crazy, right? But that's just cause and effect. That's what happens. But nevertheless, really off topic there, but necessary conversation. So main parts of this section of the video. Why is that like that? Most likely for copyright reasons. Likeness, things like that. Great story with that. We got some re-releases with this. I don't care what anybody says. I enjoy this game. That movie's growing on me. Where the hell is Ayton? Jason Goes to Hell. Where's Manhattan and where's Go to Hell? I want to go to Manhattan and go to hell. Where is it? That kind of sounded wrong, but whatever. Nevertheless, let's see what Freddy says. What do you say, Freddy? Doesn't apparently have anything to say. He's got those weird looking eyes and he's staring at me. That's creepy as shit. It's all good though. And the other ones were, where's the rest of Nightmare on Elm Streets? Where's Halloween 1? Where's Halloween 4, 5, 7? Resurrection, sure. Rob Zombie ones? Where are they? Well, we got all these. Again, I think that the best educated guess could be copyright or likeness issues where you pay for, you get the intellectual properties loaned to you, I guess. I don't know the technical way to word it, but it's kind of like a power of attorney thing where if you're going to execute something business-wise, whether it's selling a house or something to do with a really large sum of money or whatever, you, in order to protect yourself, most, not all, unless they're able to do it themselves, would invest in a lawyer, and you temporarily will give them power of attorney over the specific reason why the document or findings or whatever are there. So it could be that they got the okay for the copyright for the likeness of certain parts of the poster, but didn't for others. That's the only thing that just really confuses me. And another thing, this is a real easy one, although I can't show you the regular one now. Let's see if we can do this. Look at that. Knife. Nothing in it, right? And then we go over here, and I can't show you it because the same damn thing happened. With the original poster, the knife had a picture of the main female antagonist. The VHS has it. The Blu-ray does not. Very confusing. Even the screener that I have, I believe, has it as well. Very confusing stuff, but we could still put this on here, like the pumpkin, or we could put Michael's face on it. This is, pretty much the alternate posters, as you can see here, as they're represented very well. I mean, it's pretty much the same thing. Where's the leprechaun, too? I don't got no leprechaun. Halloween 2, I know it gets a lot of crap, but I definitely want that. And, again, how could you not want a version of all these figures? I do. I know any horror fan out there certainly does. But not bad so far. I mean, I think we're doing pretty good with that. And now we're going to take everything off the table. We're going to go over some more figures. I'm going to try to wrap this up. So, lots of things to digest there. I want Manhattan. I want Hell. And I want the rest of Halloween. Wah, poor me. But I think they should do it. Hopefully you can. And if you can't, well, I guess we'll wait and wait, because we never thought that at any point in time there would be at least the general consensus around the community for all things horror and figures and everything like that in physical media. I did not think that there was a sliver of chance for either one of those box sets to ever come out. And by the way, there's a Nightmare on Elm Street 4K supposedly coming out in October or September. Can't wait for that. It's awesome. Yep, I got it on Blu-ray, but I gotta definitely check it out, because it's Nightmare on Elm Street, and you can't never get enough of those. They just print money, I swear to God. And they are older than me in some cases, and just as old as me in others. It's crazy. That's the genius of these people, and they bring some great films and great characters and great stories to life. We need all those things, though. Like 100%. Don't know who, what, where, when, why, how. But it's got to happen, because I didn't think that was going to happen. I thought hell would freeze over before I ever saw that, because I was able to do some digging in, some research, as the kids say these days. I was able to look into it, and a lot of the reasons were different. Like I said, different movies, developers, everything like that. Different movie studios, I apologize, and copyrights, and they can bounce. And, copyrights are very interesting in how that works. But nevertheless, let's get to the rest of this, because I don't want to keep you here all day. But getting into some good conversations, and you know me, I can't stop until I get it all out. Hope you're enjoying it so far. Let's get another round of figures, and probably another round, and then maybe another round, and then that's it. We'll call it. See you soon. This is going to be fun to put up. I enjoy this. I do. I really, truly enjoy putting things back up, and maybe finding different ways to... I'm already envisioning it. As I'm doing this video, because I'm me and I'm a spaz, I'm already envisioning how I want the rest of this, how I want this to look again, or if I want to change it. It's awesome. That's why I love these shells. But we'll be back. Imposter Jason, here I come. Alright, more figures on the table. Not a full table, but I want to do this a certain way. So we're going to have some Neca figures in here. We're going to have some Mezco. A few others in here as well. So I guess it's going to be a whole bunch of stuff. But majority of it is Neca. So we've got Alf, Batman from the video game. This one isn't sealed, so we can take a look at it like we just looked at Jason. There is no stickiness here. I don't think there was at any point, but this is from the NES game as well. It's actually Cynthia's. She got this for herself, but I have it kept away, and I hate when that happens. I don't like certain things like that. We'll just, take a peek at a few of these because they're awesome. There is the Chucky from, it doesn't have a specific movie, but it's got a bunch of different things from all the films kind of mixed into one. All three of the films. I'm your friend to the end. Heidi ho. Ha ha ha. It's awesome. We'll take a look at this one for sure. This one's a big one. Like, if we look at the rest of these, like, this is a big box. They got 4 different It heads. The original It that was released on television as a series, or 2-part series or whatever. Really cool. There's another one for the remake, but didn't get it, even though I do have one version of them. I got it as a Christmas gift. So we've got some representation of Pennywise as a Bendy. I'm not huge on the Bendies, but, the Hulk said so why not? And then we got some interesting things here. These are obviously Neca and Mezco. These two are Mezco, I believe. This is a completely different line. I don't even know what line this is, honestly, but I saw this come out at Walmart at some point. Oh, it's Trick or Treat Studios. They've been updating these every, 3 to 6 months, something like that. Saw the Captain Spaulding. Absolutely 100% had to get it because I love the Captain Spaulding. And look at that. That is an amazing looking pistol. That's a revolver. Don't know what caliber it is, but I'd like to think it's 500. It's one of my favorites. Of course, you got these ones from Friday the 13th. Sorry, Nightmare on Elm Street, Part 4, The Dream Master. Again, I'm not a huge fan of these type of packagings because I'm so accustomed to these now, and even these are just bulky. I just think these are great. But, they are part of history, and that's interesting, right? So that's a NECA figure there, and then, see, that only comes with one snake. Comes with the Book of the Dead. Or, sorry, the Book of the Living, or whatever it is, a Book of the Dead. I thought it was a Necronomicon. It's not. And we're not doing Evil Dead here. Then over here, you got 2 snakes. Very different. And comes with the same book. It's really cool. I think that's pretty detailed. But, nevertheless, just something I saw here. There's, of course, Reagan. The Spider Walk, which is in the director's cut version of The Exorcist. Which version do you prefer? I'm just curious. We could also ask about that, about the Dominion and the prequel to The Exorcist. I forget what the other one was called. Very interesting and divisive around the horror community and how they feel about that. But first one's definitely the best, and that was a creepy as shit moment. Almost creepy as that flashback scene or the flashing with that weird face. Yeah, a lot of people creeped out by that. See, a new Nightmare. So there is a version of it, but it's the older version, plastic style. Of course, right here we got a Hannibal Lecter. There was a release of him in the box, disposed on the package. Kind of similar idea. Might be a very small difference, but again, not really an interest. I think there's another version of him in the thing where he's got the thing over his face, but I'm good with just that. And then, of course, right here, this was a real difficult one to find, but we found it, and it is awesome. I don't know if I can, I don't know how I'm going to get this out, but we'll definitely take a quick peek at this one. Love that poster. It's very similar. Good old silver shamrock. Can't go wrong with that. And then, of course, you got your faces. But we'll crack it open because it's not one you can open. Glad I realized that before I broke it, because I would have been pissed. He's a part of it. And, of course, you got the TV. Lenticular? Is it lenticular? I don't know if that's considered lenticular, but that's awesome. You got the different faces when they were affected by the music that was played during the commercials. Those are the 3 costumes. There's a Tiny Toons version of this, but this is the one I definitely wanted. I think this is awesome, and I think that's great right there because it has... it's like if you were to send away for these back in the day. That's kind of how they would look. It's almost time. Don't forget. What does that say? I'm having trouble reading that. I have to look at that. Hold on a second. Let's see if I can read that. Yeah. Eyesight's kind of going on me. I can't even read it with this on here. But that's pretty cool. Don't forget to turn on your TVs. I think it says there's something along the line. Somewhere around there. That's pretty bad. I couldn't read that. But, you know, it is what it is. What are you going to do? But, really cool set. Glad to have it in the collection. As I am with everything. Of course I have. That's really cool and not easy to find. Some of these things you could find out in the wild. Not easy. Like any of these Mezco ones. So anything you see similar fare is Mezco. Oh, look at that. Good old Jason Goes to Hell. And what else do we have here? Got some other pictures on there. You got the Dream Warriors. Okay, so there was a Freddy Dream Warriors. And I believe it was when he was in the Chefs. I believe it when he was in the Chefs. But we'll take a look at it. This is the Hitchhiker from Texas Chainsaw Massacre. This is the only release of him, I believe. I think there's another release. Oh, well, that kind of makes sense. So, yeah, there he is. Jason Goes to Hell. And that's what I thought. Chef Freddy from the 5th version. Of course, the Hitchhiker. And then the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. Mr. Thomas Hewitt himself from the remake. Really good remake, by the way. I think that was one of those movies that really kickstarted them. This right here is something that wasn't difficult to find, and now I can't find it anymore. It's been out for a hot minute, as we hear these days. Cloth versions of Dr. Loomis and Laurie Strode. I'd like to see a boxed version of both of these figures. That'd be pretty cool. I don't think it's going to happen, but you know, that's the scene at the end where, you know, Myers is stalking Laurie in the hospital. There's another version of this that has Michael and Loomis in it. I believe it's the same Loomis, but I have not been able to get that. Didn't find it. This one you could find a lot of, at least in my area, but really cool. That pumpkin just gets me every time. Ah, that kind of looks like it's got hair. That's a tad bit creepy. But anyway, cool stuff. I got the Bride of Chucky. So I did get them both, but I got them like this. I think this is actually a gift. I'm not sure. You got Tiffany and Chucky there with all the different faces that you can choose from and all the different weapons, because you know he always has a bunch of them. This is a NECA figure as well. It is good old Charles Lee Ray, and he's in a Good Guys box. This figure is huge too as well. Like, this is bulky and extremely heavy. But really cool. I mean, you can't go wrong with that. How could you say no to the Good Guys? And of course, last and certainly not least, a different version of Ghostface that I have. Cloth version. The shoes seem kind of light. I thought he had all black shoes, but I mean, listen, that's nitpicking crap. You got there the voice changer. You got the knife. The knife looks really good. I actually have a knife that is identical to that. I think you can get them at a big box retailer or something. I'm not sure. But back is just going to have, you know, kind of an idea of how to display him and whatnot, which I think is really cool. And that's the end of that section. Don't really have much to go on. Not a lot of stories I didn't share already. I know Alf's kind of an oddity. Grew up watching Alf, of course. You know, I'm an 80s kid. 80s and 90s. And the other one I'd want, if I was going to definitely get one, would be Pee Wee Herman. I saw Pee Wee's Playhouse. And it's awesome. And when you open the door, like, you know, this little door here, It's the door to the playhouse. Got to find that. I did find one in the wild. It had damage on the door. If there's anything I could not be more specific with, there's certain things that don't bother me. If it's something that's vintage, like, my games, some of them are, at this point they're not even retro, they're vintage. Like, they're way beyond that, I think, at this point. So those are now vintage, I believe, if I'm going by the correct timetable that requires, or that makes it in the vintage section, category, whatever you want to call it. But those ones, if they have some blemishes to them, I mean, it's okay. Like, I'm okay with it. At one point I wasn't, but then I was like, these things are a lot of money. Like, you got to kind of give and take, and, kind of look at it as a story. There's always a history behind it. Why did this, stain get here? Why did this crease get here? Why did somebody write on it? Just weird things like that, So these ones are a little more in regards to wanting them nice and clean. Need to be dusted, but nice and clean. Mint on card. But let's keep it going, because it's going to take a while. Here we go again. Another round for the table that isn't full, but full enough. These are the Mezco Cinnamon Affairs. More than I have. This one's not in the best condition. One of the times I wish I didn't remove a stupid price tag. Kind of looks a little awful. That's why you just leave them on there. It is what it is. But pretty sought after. A lot of these figures on this table are at this point. There's another one. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Great figure. I couldn't get this one in the wild. Had to hunt it down on the eBay, I believe, at some point over the last 5 or 10 years. So, good stuff there. Jason Goes to Hell, the only incarnation of Jason Goes to Hell that we have currently right now. And he looks awesome. A lot of fans of the film. A lot of people that are not too fond of it. Looks like at some point I got this. And I was looking for a date. 1999 it was. And it was Series 3. There's 3 other series with this. I wonder what series this one is. That's 3. What is that one? That one's 2. So we got 2 here. So this is Series 2. Now, if there's one thing, actually, it's good that I saw this. I would have definitely wanted to get him. That wasn't a huge deal. That right there is awesome. That's a diorama of when Nancy falls asleep in the bath, taking a bubble bath or whatever in the first Nightmare on Elm Street, and the claw comes out. That's just sick. There's 2 versions of it, too. Actually, no, I think there's another version where he's coming out of the wall, and there's a black and white version of that, and then a color version. I think this one only has the color version, but pretty expensive stuff. I'll hopefully get it at some point. But nevertheless, moving on. Jason Goes to Hell. Bring it back. This is from... Who is this from? McFarlane. And this is Movie Maniacs. This is Jason X. Only one of Jason X that we currently have. Guess he had the license at one point. Would have been cool to get the regular Jason as well, but Uber Jason is awesome. It's got the little movie poster in the back. That's pretty sick. I got all these other figures here. Pretty cool. Tooth Fairy. The Terminator ones look pretty good as well. There's the Wishmaster. Don't see much of him around anymore. And of course you get the big one right there. Awesome. I have a few of those. I had some other ones and I lost them at some point, but what are you going to do? Neca, Nightmare on Elm Street 3, Dream Warriors. Love the way that looks. I guess I'll never know because I'll never take them out. Just the way it is. My only... I think I have another one of Halloween. I don't remember where I put it. That's kind of like this, but, like kind of like the other figures that I showed you, like in the same vein, but in the box, but they're NECA or they're Mezco, whatever. This is the only one I have of Rob Zombie's Halloween. I thought the figure came out pretty good. Massive, as the actor portrays Michael Myers is in real life, so I thought it was a great movie. Definitely has, some things that were better than others and some things that may have been unnecessary, but, overall, like the film. And I finally added an Elvira at some point in time. Elvira isn't one that I think I've seen a lot of for figures, so good to add that to the collection. There's a Tiny Toons version of her. I did not get it. Right here you get a Neca version of the Michael Myers from Halloween 2. Cloth. I'm not really huge on these, but I do like it, though. I do like it. I can appreciate it. I wish I got the Friday the 13th from the NES game in cloth. It's pretty expensive. It was Toys R Us exclusive. Toys R Us doesn't really exist anymore, so some places it does, but just as a part of a store or whatever. Here's a very expensive one. Now take a look at that. Anybody who knows who this figure is. Hey, get your ghost, Bob. You know what this is from. Halloween, the first one. And it's Cult Classics Hall of Fame. This was Neca, so this was the Neca figure. This figure can go anywhere. I've seen it go anywhere between $300 and $800. I think I've even seen it $1,000 at one point. Maybe it might have been graded. You're gonna ask me what the deals were graded. I don't have any interest, but this figure is extremely expensive and very rare. I got it for $14 because I was like, that's an awesome looking figure. You can't go wrong with Michael Myers dressed up as Ghost Bob. Even though Ghost Bob never really did his thing because he was long and gone before that ever happened, but that's the way we look at it. He pretended to be Ghost Bob, but in reality, he's just Michael Myers. Cloth version of Jason Goes to Hell. Jason Goes to Hell, I wish. Friday the 13th, Part 6, Jason Lives. Again, another Neca. Pretty expensive. Not as expensive as this one, but pretty expensive nevertheless. I do like the way it came out. Good, accurate portrayal. Got the machete, got the different tools that Jason has, and I think the mask looks really good. I think it's removable too, I believe, which is awesome. I don't think there's anything on the back though. Nope, it's just Jason, and yes, it does show that that's what he looks like with his mask removed. Pretty cool stuff. And this one right here is another heavy hitter. This one was $30. This is the Evolution of Evil. This is another one that can go from anywhere between a couple $100 to over $1,000. This is definitely a grail piece for my horror collection. I do have a lot of them, but this is definitely one that sticks out. Only time that young Michael Myers was put into an action figure that I'm aware of, other than something that may have come out from, what was it? I'm trying to think here. Spencer's Gifts, I think, had like a pull string version of him or something like that, and I had a pull string version of Michael Myers. Those are pretty expensive too, but again, it's just never got around to getting it, but still pretty cool. Awesome. This is from, I don't know if this is from Neca. Is this Neca? Yeah, it's Neca. Yeah, it's Neca. And I think it looks pretty good, but you could tell they have certainly come a long way with how figures look back then and how they look now. Still looks really good, but you could tell that's a light up pumpkin. Just like, I don't know if I have it here, but Michael Myers also has a light up pumpkin. He's on here somewhere. I have no idea. 8-ball for some luck. And then we have another elusive figure. Definitely up in the grail piece area. This is a Neca Comic-Con, or Neca Convention, exclusive from 2015. I did not get this. I've never been to a convention. I would really enjoy going to one. This is the only time that she was ever released, other than a big pack that I'll show you later, in an action figure form, other than a really large one like we've discussed before, which, and then there's another rare one. Look at that. Cynical looks awesome. And of course, you can't go wrong with some good old Jason Voorhees. Only version I've ever seen officially released as a kid, which I think is great. That's just awesome. And then, of course, on the back, it just has the, look at that. Mother loves Jason. And he has that look. It doesn't have the exact look that, we remember, but it is pretty close. It's pretty cool. This one came out a number of years ago. Not too terribly hard to find and not too expensive, but it's the only other version we had of Miss Voorhees, even though it was all a dream. I still think it's cool. And, it's a part of history now, because you're not going to be able to get that again. last certainly not the least for this section, got old Captain Spaulding. I always wanted to get the Neca versions of the Three from Hell. I'm sorry, not the Three from Hell, the Devil's Rejects, House of a Thousand Corpses. Never got around to it. That's Captain Spaulding. Rest in peace, Sid Haig. Great actor. Did amazing in this movie. Like, just amazing. Definitely a cult classic. And who could say anything wrong to 20th anniversary of Captain fucking Spaulding? You can't. Just look at all these cool things he's got. He's even got the chicken. I love that. He's got the goddamn chicken in there. Does he? Oh no, maybe he doesn't. No, that's just his hat. That's my fault. That's his hat, and that's a hand. That's telling you where to go. Give him the old finger. Should have a chicken in there. Where's the chicken at? I think one of them had a chicken. Did that other one have a chicken? No, it had a gun. So there we go with that. Some great pieces. Let's keep going. And here is my first incarnation of Pamela Voorhees I ever got. This is the 25th anniversary box set, where it has adult Jason from part 2, Pamela from, of course, the first one, and then, of course, a different head for Jason after the old potato sack comes off. And then, of course, last and certainly not least, it's really hard to see, Pamela Voorhees in that infamous scene with the sweatshirt, or sweater, sorry, and the candles, and it's just great. It's awesome. I got to try to get a better view of this, which is, it's probably the best one I'm going to get. Amazing detail, really good. This was, I don't know, was it Neca? Yeah, it was Neca, and it was very old. This was a while ago. In this condition, that doesn't help. Again, my price tag thing, I just didn't learn my lesson until much later. This box isn't in the best condition, and listen, it's got to be dusted, it's got to be cleaned, but I still love it. It's still sealed, and it's a big part of my collection. Definitely a grail item. This one doesn't go for as much, but it's really cool. And again, just the plastic that needs to be a little better situated here. But Freddy vs. Jason, we waited so long for this. Us as a community, we waited from 1993 until 2003. 10 years it took to get this movie. And I wish there were more of them. But there isn't, so you know what? That's okay. I believe this is another Neca. Actually, yeah, it is. Yep, it's another Neca one, so that's the only piece of Freddy vs. Jason figures that I have from that time. So, it's okay. This is another huge piece right here. Because I wasn't able to get that 2-pack a while ago that I described, at least I was able to get my hands on this very early on. Again, I believe it's another Neca. This is a very early Neca. This is 2004, as the doggies bark for whatever reason. Again, plastic isn't the best. You can only do so much to take care of things, honestly. And I firmly believe that I did everything that I could to throw out all the moves and everything to really care for these. But, life happens. And, that's just the way it is. But still a cool set piece. You got Michael Myers in there. You got Dr. Loomis. And, of course, you got the pumpkin. That looks like a very accurate pumpkin, by the way. But, obviously, just to kind of take a look at the sides here. I'll probably do it for the other ones as well. Just to kind of show you it in case you've never seen it before. It's just awesome. I know the box, again, is not the best condition. That's not the way I want it to be. But, this is a bulky box, and it's gone through a number of moves, and that's just kind of life, and that's the way it goes. That's okay. And last and certainly not least, at least for the horror stuff, and then we're going to get to some turtles, because, why not? We're looking at Neca. Neca update and looking at the past. This one right here is a special edition I saw. I do remember getting this in the store. I had both of these. I didn't have the bloody versions because there's a bloody variant and a non-bloody variant. And they were movie maniacs. And then I saw this and I was like, wouldn't that be cool if they ever did Freddy vs. Jason or Jason vs. Freddy? Very big difference in time. I'll take a look to see what the date is, but It's got, I don't know if it has both their posters, because usually these come with posters, but it's got the little Freddy there. It's got the Jason Voorhees stand right here as well. Got some other weapons up there. Like, just a really cool piece. It's sealed. You don't normally see these like this. And that's obviously the Jason from Jason Goes to Hell. And that's the Freddy from, I don't know, pick whichever one. Can't really tell, but it looks awesome. Looks really good. These don't go for too much. I mean, they've kind of risen in value as time goes on, but you got all kinds of stuff going on here, and these were some of the figures that were available at one point in time. Been seeing a lot of things on TikTok about Austin Powers. I think it's funny. Great movies. I have to watch those again. Again, not too bad. Pretty good stuff there. Again, I'm surprised it's not as sought after, but I mean, I think this one's more, and that's like really saying much. But so we looked at that one, so we'll take a look at the sides of this just because. Why not? You know, that kind of, not gonna lie, that kind of makes me think of Jason X. I don't know why. Maybe that's true. And then, of course, there's Freddy. And then if you wanted to set up the diorama and open it up, you could. And there you go. Got some Jason stuff. So that's the Jason there. There's old Freddy. And he has this pissed off Freddy face, which is awesome. They call it alternate heads, removable mask. Yeah, this looks really good. It's awesome. Such an awesome movie. If you've never seen that, didn't even give it a chance, do yourself a favor, folks, and give that movie a watch. I don't know how you'd be watching this right now and not have seen that, but you know what? Hey, sometimes you don't see everything. So here we go again. Real dirty, dusty, muddy-looking box, but yeah, look at that. What do you think's better? You think this one's better, or you think the one that they did recently was better? That's a hard call. Honestly, that's a really difficult call. I'm not sure. Well, it's pretty close to it. I almost think the other one's better in some ways, but I can't open it up to really put it together side by side. Maybe somebody did that out there in the ether, as they say, in the universe. Pretty good stuff. Look at that, 25th anniversary. Sackhead Jason. And then if we wanted to take a better look at parts of the candles and the head and everything. Really cool stuff. And again, this stuff goes, I don't remember the pricing on this as I remember the other one, because I was blown away by that when I first figured it out. But prices on these, and just like with anything, is really expensive. It's just so it happens. These figures, I think, are not technically vintage yet, but they are on the cusp of being vintage. I think all of these, and not the Necas, of course. The Neca figures that I have, the big box ones, nowhere near that at all, because they've just come out over the last couple of years. Some of them maybe getting closer than others, but I mean, some of these plastic ones in the hard plastic or the soft plastic, just obnoxious bubbles. Those are getting pretty close too. Like, one of them's at least a decade, and other ones could be 15 years. I think it's 20. I think it's about 20. I think that would make it at least close enough to vintage. I don't know. We got to look that up. I got to have that answer next time I do this, because I think I got it before and I forgot, because that's just what happens. So, on to one more thing, and we're gonna wrap this up, and then we're gonna see how this all turns out. Maybe I'll change things up. I mean, I have an empty canvas. I really wish. And again, side note, because I'm Mr. Spaztastic from the House of Fun and Video Games. How can I not be? I'm surrounded by chaos in this room, and I got a table, and I can move only 2 feet. That's fine. What we do for this. I like this. I wish I could have been a painter. Not that you can't be a painter. It's whether you have the drive to be able to understand how the art works. So I guess I don't have the drive. I guess that would be more of my, more of a correct analogy of what I'm trying to say. But I like empty canvases in regards to things like this, because then I can just kind of turn them into whatever I want. Like right now, because I have this pretty much empty, I can just flip these around. Would I do that? I don't think so. I kind of like my horror over here, but again, like, we could change that at any point, and that's what I really do like. That bottom shelf obviously couldn't change at all, but like these two top ones, and of course that one right behind me, we could change those at any point in time. And maybe the next time I decide to do a whole run through the game room, maybe I'll take everything out, put it all back and just rearrange the entire room. It could happen. It could. We're going way off track. Oh, by the way, if you didn't know, best championship belt ever. Win Eagle belt. Big gold from WCW is awesome. That's an amazing belt. It has a story with it. You all should know it by now. And my wife never seems to ever let me forget it. And she'll see this and she'll say, that goddamn belt. Fair enough. Great belt. Champs here. No, I'm not. But we'll be back with the last round of figures. Let's go over some turtles and get you going back onto your regular scheduled programs. Let's go see what's going on with that dog. Sounds a bit unhappy. Alright, this section should be pretty quick. These are the Toonie Terrors from Neca. Almost like cartoon versions of the horror figures of all the great franchises that we love of today and yesteryear. I wasn't too interested in these at first, but once you grab a few, you just keep going. It's just the way collecting is. Do I have any aspirations on any other ones? I've seen a few that interest me, but honestly, I'm going to keep them. I think they're through here. I think they're up here. I'm sorry. I think that I kind of just want to keep it at that space, and if I see something really interesting, then I'd probably go for it, but, you know, it's okay. I think I have one other one I don't have out. I couldn't fit, and that was, oh, man, I don't remember. I don't remember right now, but I think it was the one from The Hitcher. Was that it? I don't remember. It was something that Kane Hodder did. If you remember, let me know. You know, you got your Jason. Looks pretty cool. Got the Freddy Krueger. You know, Michael Myers. 2 versions of him. You got to have them both. I think it's awesome is the not just the blood and stuff. I mean, that's cool, but the different pumpkins. They're very different looking. I don't know. Give me different vibes of both of them. They're pretty cool. Leatherface. Reagan, of course. Can't go wrong with some Exorcist. The Nosferatu. It's the only figure I have of the Nosferatu. The original vampire. Other than, of course, Dracula, but, you know, that could be debated. Got old Pinhead. Can't go wrong with him. Good old Hellraiser. Ghostface. I think this is funny, and it kind of reminds me of scary movies for some reason. I don't know why. And, of course, Beetlejuice, because you can't have enough Beetlejuice in your life. Jigsaw. I don't have anything of him. There's a great couple of NECA figures out of him in the big boxes. Never got around to it. And then, you know, this is a really weird one for me. With Tarman is from Return of the Living Dead, the first one. And that's confusing because, you know, that whole series and timeline is kind of very convoluted, whether it's, you know, meta or not, or whatever you want to call it, or, you know, if there's any continuity between them, I guess would be a better way of saying it. But I thought it was cool, and he goes, brains, and I never thought I'd ever see a zombie actually talk. This one right here, again, I can't say enough about the Joker. One of my other figures that I love to collect is the Joker. I like Batman. I'm really into Superman too much, and X-Men I love too, but, you know, as you can see with good old Spidey, I would probably go a little hog wild, so we kind of just hold off on that. I'd like a Cyclops, a Wolverine, Cyclops, Storm, Jean Grey or the Phoenix. Colossus is a 100% must. I had one at one point. I don't know where he went. He used to have this big dumbbell thing. He was in the same idea, I think, if I remember correctly, as these figures that were released from, I want to say that was Toy Biz. Yeah, it's Toy Biz, so kind of looks like that Venom. If I remember. I could be remembering that completely wrong, but maybe it was just around the same time. But nevertheless, you know, Magneto, Sabretooth, Juggernaut, Apocalypse, a lot of great figures that could be in that, but I think I've had most of them at one point, but it was when I was much younger, and, you know, they were just kicking around and they were loose like that. So every once in a while you might see one pop up if I happen to find it, you know. I got a Doctor Doom up there. I don't remember where the hell that came from, but I think it came from some mystery box that I got from, like, a Goodwill or Savers or something, and then random set of balloons, because, I mean, who doesn't need balloons? And, you know, Crane with the missing antenna. Replaced it with Flash Funk's hat, because I don't know where the hell Flash Funk went. Yeah, I got a thing with the Joker. Joker's awesome. Comics, movies, everything about him. Just love the way he looks. He's got a very bright appearance for such a dark character, and a lot of things are just unknown with him. And of course, got some more Joker over here. This is a weird one. This kind of reminds me of a Joker I think I may have seen and vaguely remember when I was very, very young. It's how figures were like in the 70s, and I wasn't in the 70s, but I was around long enough to see things like from that time period. It's just one of those things I remember. But yeah, like the Joker, like the Batman, but we got to keep going because we're almost there. I mean, just look. I got this a little more organized, which is good because that's a lot to put up. That's all right. It's for the greater good. Maybe we'll reorganize it. Maybe not. We'll be back with more figures because that's what we do here. We need more figures and more tables and more game room and more everything. Love that Joker. All right, and last and certainly not least, although not part of the horror collection, but part of my childhood, part of nostalgia. Huge reason for Neca being a great selling company is these awesome, amazing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. You got ones from the first one, the second one, the third one. I don't have any for the third. I have a few from the second. And we'll have a little story time after we're done looking at them. So this is Oroku Saki and Hamato Yoshi. Now, you wouldn't necessarily know who these two are, but I will let you know. And I think it even has a little splinter in there, right? Yeah, it does. It has a baby splinter. This is the Shredder before he's the Shredder. This is Splinter before he's Splinter in human form. Oh, I'm sorry. That would be the cartoon. So let's take that back. This is indeed Shredder before he's Shredder. This is Splinter's owner, Hamato Yoshi, who is tragically killed, along with his wife, by Shredder, and leaves a mark on Splinter when Splinter tries to attack him. At least in the 1990 live-action movie. And then, moving on, I mean, that's really cool because we never had the opportunity to ever have these figures like this. So it's definitely an important piece, and I shouldn't just skip over it. But really cool stuff. And you can't go wrong with foot soldiers. I will bring you over here for a sec. That foot soldier, including the one from the movie line, and that's a re-release. It doesn't even talk about the originals because I can't remember. Difficult or not. I've only seen one foot soldier. I've seen many of these. Most of them I've seen multiple times. That foot soldier, including Toka, which I got, Razor, which I do not have. I'll get it eventually, somewhere down the line. Very difficult to find, which is funny because Toka and Razor also share the same problem with this line. And a funny story at the end. So foot soldiers from the first one, awesome. Got a lot of different weapons that they use. Figures look amazing, as all NECAs do, in my opinion. Just great. Can't go wrong with a foot soldier. And then, of course, here we have the Shredder and Splinter. I mean, what more can be said? The figures are very accurate. They look amazing, and I'm sure that they probably display amazing, but as your boy said, ain't happening. Staying in the box where it belongs. Mint on card. Casey Jones and April 2-pack. Again, I have another Casey Jones. I don't typically like these kind because I'd rather get them in the individual selves. For whatever reason, I was okay with this, but they're just really hard to find. Or they have like 50 of like one, and then of course right here you've got the infamous scene with Casey Jones and Raphael when he gets revealed to be a turtle. But Casey Jones has no idea that there's a giant turtle walking around. So even got all the different weapons, and of course the big one right here that he ends up knocking Raph into the trash can with. This one right here I didn't expect to find. I found this by BS luck. This has, and I don't think there's really a huge difference, honestly, between these two guys. And you know what? That's okay. There wasn't a huge difference in the movies, I don't believe either. This is from the second movie, live action, of course. This has Kino in it, which we never had a figure for Kino. And it's awesome. There's one for Kino that was an exclusive that you could order. That I think he was on his bike or something like that. But this is the one that was released in the stores, and you know, it's the one I got. We'll go for you for last because that's a special one. That's the one where the story comes. Of course, here's just a Shredder by himself. Again, I don't believe any huge differences in between them that I can tell right off the rip. But still, pretty awesome. Has a few extra accessories, maybe? Obviously, in this one, he has a few extra accessories. But still, you can't go wrong with more Shredder. And then we got a lenticular April O'Neil. I didn't even realize I had this, because otherwise I probably wouldn't have got that. But again, no big deal. This was one of the figures I was able to locate, and she's actually got a different outfit, so I think that's pretty cool. That's April O'Neil. That's a pretty good representation of the actor, too. Looks very close to her, for sure. Got a bunch of different things. Got her big giant bag and everything like that, and then the pizza boxes when the turtles were crashing at the apartment and made everything a mess. But really cool. I really do like this. And that just reminds me of the first one, when the Shredder was looking at them. There is another one, obviously, that I have that I can't show because it's buried. But it's my Turtle 4-pack. And last, and certainly never least, you got your Tokar and Razor. I got this after they were released. I ordered it directly from Neca. I was one of the fortunate ones to get on there as quickly as humanly possible to get this. Took a while to get in. When it came to the doorstep, I was actually kind of surprised. I think this is probably when I first got here in Florida. I can't remember, but it wasn't too much longer after that. And I don't even remember when I ordered it, honestly. Like these things do take some time, just like the, limited run stuff. It takes an awful long time to get here, so. But I still think that's pretty cool. Here's the interesting story about these guys. Just take a look at them. Just enjoy this for a moment, because this is the most detailed you will ever see these two. They're highly sought after. They're very expensive, other than the 4-packs of each one of the turtles, except for the third one. Doesn't do too well on the secondhand market. But the reason why Tokar and Razor are super important is because before I was even into NECA figures, at least in regards to turtles. Like, I don't even think I realized they had turtles, or they just came out before I left. I think it must have been around that time. I go into a Walmart, and there is this. This wasn't released yet. A Shredder was there, a Super Shredder, all the turtles, not obviously the big giant VHS looking boxes. Those are exclusive to NECA. You have to get them from them or off the secondhand market. If there was one time that I regretted not getting something, it was that moment. Now, these figures right here, Tokar and Razor, were not expensive. Let me rephrase that. They weren't any more expensive getting them from NECA as they were with getting them from big box. But shipping costs and everything, I don't remember the exact amounts, but that haunted me. And I just decided that, I had a lot going on. It was the day before I was moving. There was way too much stuff going on. I was like, you know what? I just wanted to look at them. Oh, it's really cool. And just kind of moved on. I don't regret a lot of things. I regret that because I could have had Super Shredder, which I don't have. That's one of the figures I really want to get. I want to get the big box 4-pack of the Turtles from the first movie and the third movie. And then I think I'm good. I have a Tatsumaro too. Tatsumaro didn't seem to do so well. They said there was a difference in the likeness. A lot of videos that I saw reviews of them. I found one. It's fairly easy to find them. Actually on clearance now. I think at Walmart. $25 I believe I saw them for. At some point recently. But I had a Tatsumaro. And I couldn't fit them up there, so I put them in the closet to do. Because I didn't want to mess them up or scratch anything. So Maybe I'll bring them out and reorganize them. I don't know. Maybe I'll have a whole shelf of turtles instead of a whole shelf of Neca and just... I'm not really sure what I want to do. I'm really not. It's kind of a conundrum right now, but you know, we'll get there. But anyway, that is one of the biggest regrets I have as far as things that I don't necessarily need. I saw every one that I wanted. Other than obviously these ones came again much later, but all 4 turtles, a shredder, a super shredder, and Toker and Razor. And I blew it. Now granted, it's an awful lot of money to drop at one time, but the amount of money that these are going for, Super Shredder is not too expensive. I could get him at a reasonable price on the secondhand market, like eBay, Mercati, whatever they call it there. Different things like that. Facebook Marketplace, I'm sure you could find it as well. But I don't always like going that route. I know in the past, and again, this is before we get to the closing, because I'm actually going to do the closing. I did a closing. I've already shot a closing, but I have no interest in it right now. Like none. Like I did it and I thought about it as I was doing this because I was worried about the weather outside. And we're going to change it up. I didn't like the way it came out, so it's getting scrapped. It's fine. Just like I do sometimes. But I'm just being honest with you before I edit this. Anyway. I really wish I pulled the trigger on these. So here comes a couple of different things out of this conversation. If you really, really want something, get it. As long as it doesn't screw things up for you financially. These things, everything in this room, can really make or break you. I have been fortunate enough to keep a lot of stuff from my childhood. And then add a few things here and there. Not always the best decisions to make, not always the worst decisions to make. But don't ever put yourself in a place, as most collectors, responsible ones, will tell you that you don't ever want to put yourself in a place where you're going to hurt yourself. And again, I'm not some PSA or trying to do some, tell you how it is because I'm Father Time, because I get that Santa Claus look on because of the beard. But it's just something to keep in mind. So I made a decision that day. I don't know why I made it. I just had too much going on. I was too excited about moving forward with my life. It's the title of the video. But I do regret that because I would have been able to get Super Shredder. But I regret it not because I didn't get that. That's not why. A part of me regrets getting it because I enjoyed the chase. And once the chase is over, like for example, I've got a Snatcher over there. Snatcher is the second most sought after game on the Sega CD. Very expensive. It's in really good condition. Kyo Flying Squadron is obviously the top. That's the most expensive. That's the rarest because it's very limited, just like Snatcher was. Very late in the cycle of the system. But again, this video games, action figures, like, where are we going with this? That was a hunt. Some of the games, some of these action figures, like, I bought him off the Neca store. I'm happy that I finally got him. I was so excited it didn't have damage on it or whatever. Like the normal things that you'd want to make sure of when you're buying something. But unfortunately the hunt was over. And I don't know about you, but I think I enjoy the hunt now as I've gotten, older and change and my views change and my feelings change and all this other shit. I honestly think that I enjoy the hunt more than I actually enjoy getting something. When I get something, I'm very happy with it. It's not like I'm bored with it. I don't want to deal with it. I want to get rid of it. But there's something about the hunt. A challenge. Like when I was looking for Pamela Voorhees from that, thing we looked at in the beginning. That was a hunt. I haven't felt a hunt in so long. I was glad I finally got it. It wasn't a super long hunt. I think the longest hunt I ever went on to, other than Toker and Razor, if I can remember, would probably be... It wouldn't be the man-eating cow, because that was like my first figure I decided I wanted to do. Mint on card. I don't want to open action figures anymore. Long story with that, but we won't get into that now. It's way too late in the video. I don't want to keep you any longer, but I'm trying to think here. It's skipping my mind. Man, that's gonna kill me. But you know what? It's okay. That's life, and it is what it is. But that, folks, is the end of the video. To do a proper outro, where I'm not feeling like it's going to pour on me or the power's going to shut off and God knows what else. Hurricane season. Hello. It is what it is. You pay the price, right? You live here or you don't. What are you going to do? Besides that, end of the video. Closing thoughts, other than my normal outro spiel. Oh, and by the way, I thought about putting some TikTok videos in here because I was talking a lot about TikTok in my other outro that I'm not going to use. And I'm revealing that to you because I'm letting you peek behind the curtain. I can't use those because they all have music on them. Because they allow you to use music. I like TikTok. And I'll get into that right before we end off. But to close this off, I'm extremely satisfied and excited. And I enjoy looking at all these wonderful figures. I can appreciate when people actually set these up and make them look cool and not just my conglomerate of chaos and anarchy and God knows whatever else I have going on here. That's like the equivalent I could do because I've seen some people open these things up, display. It just looks amazing. They get the same satisfaction as I do behind the plastic. What are you going to do? It is what it is. But I could appreciate it. But I guess that's the way to wrap up the video. So let's do it the right way. Neca figures. Am I excited for what comes next? The turtles that have already come out. Let's go over some things that I want. We'll call it Santa's wish list. Because why not? Razor. For the Turtles re-release movie line. Neca figures. Super Shredder. A must. The big box versions for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. The first and third. And then, I've got my Tatsu, who's never been released before. I feel pretty content for now. There's another one out there for Danny. Again, way off track, but that's the way it is. Trying to get through this, guys. Just work with me here. It is what it is, right? You just gotta love it. You gotta love it or hate it. There's an exclusive for Danny, and there's an amazing Splinter. And I was so wanting to buy this. But I decided not to. There's a Splinter that's the spirit form when they're communicating through him, to him when he's being held in captivity by Shredder. And it looked amazing. The secondhand market is obnoxious for that right now. And has been ever since. And it will only continue to grow because these things are so hard to find. Not all. Some things aren't. That one, definitely. Anything that's a convention exclusive, definitely. Token Razor, 100%. A lot of those action figures I showed you that I do have, 100%. But I think after that, and Danny would be a cool addition, but it's okay if I didn't get him. So Super Shredder and those two other boxes, and I feel that I have successfully accomplished what I wanted to accomplish for collecting for Turtles as far as this set goes. I feel pretty good about it because I feel pretty good about what I have. Would I want them all? Of course, I wouldn't, but I'm good after that. But I would have to take an entire shelf to display them if I got those other two boxes because they just would look amazing. I could see it right now. I almost want to do a turtle shelf and just kind of, change it up, but we'll get there. Who knows? You might see it in another video. Another update, right? Neca does an amazing job. Mezco in the past has done an amazing job. I haven't gotten anything from them in a while. Trick or Treat Studios is coming up. Look at all these things. Action figures are more alive now than they have been in a long time. Now, granted, those are amiibos, and that's Spider-Man from '94. It doesn't count. Toy Biz. These figures here, awesome. A lot of things going on with wrestling figures. The Turtles, the Ghostbusters, and you can't go wrong with these action figures. Like, that's just the way it is, right? Like the Ghostbusters. Like, I love the wrestling figures. I will always collect wrestling figures. because, and this will be the last time we'll stop and, given the kudos and everything like that, and then we'll hear from you, of course. Wrestling figures, Hasbro released them in 1990. I believe that's when the first one was released. Hulkamania, Andre the Giant, the $1 Million Man, I believe the Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior. I can remember these very vividly. And they all had either blue or red cards, I think. That's where it gets a little hazy. Into an old store down in South Boston. Little mom and pop shop. They called Slocum's. And I'll tell you, I can't find anything about it because it didn't exist anywhere near the time that the internet came about. I've never found anything about it, but it's amazing. It was right on. It was in South Boston. It was right on the main road where Flanagan's was. And if you don't live out there or didn't at one point, you wouldn't know. But there was a lot of places. There was a place called the Hub. It was kind of like a mom and pa 7-Eleven, but just felt more neighborhoodish. If that makes any sense, Flanagan's would be like a Publix or a Stop and Shop or something like that, but just different. It's just different back then. It's not bad, it's not better, it's just different. Everything's different, everything changes, right? But when I saw these figures in there, and this particular gentleman, nicest guy you could ever meet, he ran in there with, I think, his kid, his wife, at one point was there, and himself. And he had action figures. And I think that's kind of what gives me this idea. It wasn't exactly this, but it was something similar. Maybe it was peg hooks. It's just so hard to remember. But there was so much stuff in such a little spot. I was like blown away. I had been to places like Child's World. I'd been to places like Toys R Us, KB Toys. This store just did it for me because it just felt very local, very mom and pa, and I didn't realize at the time because I was way too young. But when I saw those Hasbro figures, and I got a lot of them because I got taken up by my family or my grandmother or my mom or whoever. Oh, I want the figure, whatever, and whine about it until you get it. And I'm the only child, so I didn't have to share with anybody. You're welcome, and sorry for all you folks that have siblings out there, but I'm sure there's a positive somewhere in that, right? That camaraderie and family and all that stuff. That's important, but I wouldn't know. I'm only child. Anyway, when I saw those figures, that was the moment. And it was the Hulkamania. It was the Andre the Giant. It was the $1 Million Man. The Macho Man. The Ultimate Warrior. The Honky Tonk Man. I mean, there were so many of them. Eventually, Razor Ramon. And believe you me, I could not believe that I didn't think of this, because there is a bigger regret than the Turtles. Older Jason looking to younger Jason is absolutely heartbroken. And why is that? This gentleman ended up having each figure that's ever been produced by that line. WWF's last ditch effort with Hasbro that I can remember right now, with those figures that you wind them up and they do all these cool moves and everything, was the Green Line. The Green Line, just like Snatcher, just like Keo Flying Squadron, just like a lot of these other figures, are either scarce or very, very limited, right? Keo Flying Squadron, very, very limited. Snatcher, pretty limited. The Green Line, every single one of those figures was there. Yokozuna, 1-2-3 Kid, Smoking Guns, Bart and Billy, I think it was, right? Yep, Bart and Billy. Ludwig Volga, Atom Bomb. I think there might have been one more. I saw them all. I saw them all in person. I touched those. And as a collector, if you're a collector of wrestling figures, you will understand that is one of the grails of wrestling figures. There's plenty of them. The LJNs, I saw those as well. I loved the color green. It was my favorite color then. I went to blue and black. I kind of bounce all over the place now. All colors are cool, but man, that green, it just stuck out to me. And I'm like, it's just for some reason I could never get them. And then unfortunately the store closed, which is very sad that happened, but that would have been prime real estate because I know that they had a clearance event unprecedented. And whether those green line figures were there, I don't know, but the fact that you could get them for $10, and now 123 Kid, that's the other one. And now, just look on the prices on the secondhand market. Any of them are pretty expensive, but that green line, and I saw them all. I physically touched every one of those. Every figure that's ever been released from that line, I physically touched. I had in my hand. I got to look at it and go, oh, that's cool. And some of them I got, some of them I didn't. Never got an Andre the Giant, but man, just wild. I just think about that. That's what makes me exciting about bringing videos to you about this stuff. It's not the flex. It's not having fun. It's something different. It's experiencing something, and maybe it's a little selfish. Going back in time for a moment when maybe you're not having such a good day, and that's not the case today. Or maybe you just want to step back and just relive something just for a moment. Don't get lost, though. I say that too much. You get lost in the past. Your future goes with it. Your present, it's just non-existing, in my opinion. Of course, I could be wrong. I'm just an individual, right? But, I mean, I saw all those figures there. And I saw all of those as well. And I saw all of those as well. The turtles, and I saw those. And I'm saying that because I don't know if I'll always remember that. But man, what a time it was to be alive and be a kid. Well, I don't know what time it is, but we've yented it up long enough, and that's probably the longest outro I'll ever have. And I think that I had an epiphany and I need a towel. Don't ask what that means. Towels and epiphanies have nothing to do with each other. Just an inside joke and something from the fun from the past. Good to think about good times. Those times may be gone, but the memories still live. Anyway, enough of the hubby bubby mushy. You entered it up long enough. Thank you for joining me on this wild journey. I didn't think that it would bring up so much to me and so much emotion. But I feel good. I feel a lot better than I did a couple hours ago, maybe. You know, it's kind of like a roller coaster throughout the day. It's tough. It's tough being us. We're complicated. Every one of us in our one bed. Trying to make it better. Try to pay it forward. Try to give somebody a moment to get out of their own head. It's great. Thank you for joining me on this journey. If you haven't already, subscribe to the House of Fun and Video Games. 293 awesome, very generous, amazing folks. Subscribe, comment, like, share, all the others, happy horseshit in the middle of it. It means a lot to me. It's important. It's not the end-all be-all. But it does mean a lot to me that I might make somebody's day just that much better. Because that's why I watch the tube of a billion yous and only one of me and you. Sometimes you need that. And at one point in my life, I really did need that. And it helped me out a lot. So hopefully this does as well. Comment on anything you'd like. What did you like about this video? Was it too long? You know, that responses from me is always going to be, it is what it is. And shut off the video, right? Is any of these things interesting to you? Do you only collect specifically vintage? Instead of getting the re-release Ghostbusters, do you have the originals? Another one on the wish list, by the way, because we're back into it. Is that guy. I want a crane. I want a mint in box. That's a lot of money. That's a very old action figure. That's what I want. Technodrone. Check. Turtle Sewer playset that connects to said Technodrone. Check. Re-releases have come out for those things, except for the crane. There hasn't been a really re-release of the crane. Impossible to find. I've not seen even a label for it. It was out and it was gone that quick. It was sold online. You can get it on the secondhand market, but again, it's the hunt, baby. That's what I'm after. I did get a re-released Castle Grayskull, which was by bullshit luck. And part of the box got ruined because of Hurricane Ian that hit here, but It's still great, and I could still say that I own a Castle Grayskull. Crazy, because I mean, I didn't show any of those guys, but I have a bunch of He-Mans. They're in the closet, hanging up, looking nice, neat, and organized. A couple other figures in there. But just let me know what you think, and there's plenty of other ways to reach the House of Fun and Video Games. I'm going to go over those with you now. Facebook, Jason's House of Fun and Video Games. We can share pictures. We can share more content. We can share more stories. We can share a whole bunch of stuff that you found at the thrift, stuff that you found at the trash. Your collections, their collections, his collections, my collections. Wait a minute. I show my collections. You can't. Because if you show my collections, then you're taking my collection away from me. And you can't take my collection away from me because it's right here. But in the virtual form, you just did. So I think we have a problem with that, sir. Or ma'am, whoever you happen to be. I'm just kidding. Just a lot of different ways other than what we could do on this platform, which is simply by words, which is okay. We'd go the step further on the Facebook. And I've been calling it Twitter forever. And I forgot until up to today. Every video that I do. Twitter doesn't exist. X is what it's called. And I'm sure people do that all the time. It's not a big deal. You understand what it is. Doesn't matter in the biggest scheme of things. X. Edgy's House Fun of Video Games. I put my videos up there. I don't get in any conversations with anybody. I'm not going to lie to you. I find some funny things on there. Some funny videos. Some memes, as the kids say. And I find things funny. And then some of the comments are... Yeah, some of the topics and comments are head scratches for sure. But that's why I'm not really on there too much. But hey, listen, if that's the way you want to get hold of me, it's for you. So we can take that conversation a step further. Something I am excited about to talk about though. TikTok. I love the sound of a clock tick-tocking. That's what I'm talking about, though. Just me. It's an ism. TikTok as in the social media platform. I had no interest in it. I'm actually a source of video games on there. I don't get in a ton of conversations with people. People are very grateful with the nice things that they do say. For now. And, that can change. And if, I get more followers or whatever nonsense it is, like, you obviously, with bigger audience will attract more attention, and more attention can bring out the positive and the negative. Just got to get through it. That's just the way it is. Not everybody's going to agree, and it's fine. But as somebody once told me, whether it was mama or grandma, if you don't got nothing nice to say, don't say it. Yeah, it's a cliche thing, I get it. And we don't all follow it. Maybe when it's convenient. I don't know. I just thought of Sling Blade, Billy Bob Thornton, Mr. Carl himself. I have to do this. I have to get it out of me. I reckon I ain't got no reason to collect any more figures. Mm-hmm. Absolutely love that film. This is a director's cut of it. You should see it. Completely off topic. Has nothing to do with what we're doing right now. We're doing an outro because that's the way it goes. That's just who I am. Gotta get it out. Alright, enough of that. But TikTok, great platform. I have a lot of fun with it. I don't like that it's brought me to like things in shorter form than longer form. I still appreciate longer form videos, but it's just much easier, and I hate convenience sometimes. I like to be convenienced and inconvenienced. I'm very complicated, as I'm sure many of us are for a lot of different reasons. So, TikTok's another place you can find me on there. And when I put content out there, it's 15 seconds, and I used to complain about 15 minutes. There's a video on it. You should check it out. I don't do that anymore because I appreciate the 15 seconds. And why do I appreciate the 15 seconds? Because I am normally 2 hours, go balls to the wall. Who gives a fuck how it goes? To 15 seconds. And I feel just as satisfied, if not more, depending on what it is. It's nothing super serious. It could be a butterfly. It could be the grass blowing a certain way. It could be an airplane. It could be a million things. There's a lot of things. Animals. I love putting animals on there. I like animals. I love finding animals. It's so cool. Turtles. So cool. I had a turtle wander in my yard. That was some crazy shit. Yep. And I got to put the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles theme on the back of it. You know why? Because you can use songs on that as long as they're songs that come up or they're available. I don't understand how that works, but on everything else, obviously, including here, you do that. That'll get your copyright claim or strike or whatever. And that's never a good thing, because then, you know, your content is diminished if you're monetized and, you know, everything like that. But I'm going on and on and on. It doesn't matter. It's a bunch of bullshit. It is what it is. Follow the rules and get off the platform. It don't matter. But fight the good fight when something wrong happens, though. Always stick up for what you believe in. But when your cards are dealt and you know you did a wrong hand, what are you going to do? You're a winner or a loser. It is what it is, right? That's it, though. Come join me on that. Any of those other places. Once we get to 300 subs, we're going to do a celebration. I don't know what that could be. Like, maybe I'll pick one of these things to open up. No, not going to do that. I have in the past. That probably won't happen, though. But we'll figure out something to do. I don't know what, but we'll figure it out. There's plenty of things to do here, but I've taken up enough of your time today. I do appreciate you spending it with me. I do appreciate you seeing the humor and the brighter side of things. Well, maybe some days that you need to. Maybe things are tough. I hope that I gave you that moment to at least feel something different. Or I just entertained you. One or the other's cool. I gotta put that shark back on the TV. It's bothering the shit out of me. It also bothers me that I have empty shelves. So I've got to go, folks. Have a wonderful day. We're nowhere near the weekend, but when the weekend's here, I'll enjoy part of it. The other part, I'll be working, and it's okay. But if you get to enjoy the whole weekend, good for you. Hopefully you all had a wonderful 4th of July celebration, if that's what you celebrate. Had a party, had some friends, lit off some fireworks, whatever it may be. Hopefully you had fun. And I'd love to hear about it. Comments down below. Plenty of room for everybody to jump into the conversation. Jason's House of Fun and Video Games. Take care. And, I don't know how to end this. Actually, I do know how to end this. As I can impersonate Mr. Carl from Sling Blade, I have a pretty good Shredder impersonation. So I'm going to leave you with a Shredder impersonation. Tonight I dine on turtle soup. You wretched turtles. I guess I'm not letting you go because I wanted to show you how it came out. It wasn't easy, but I like to change. Change is good. Let me know what you think. The real ending of the video is now. I think that came out pretty good. Let's get a little further away view. Not bad. Let me know what you think. Almost fell a few times. Thank goodness I had that couch. That's it. Time to end it.